Welcome to Arts District. I'm your host, Carrie Saldo. Life in the 21st century moves quickly, but in a society that generally values that rapid-fire pace, the artists at Ildanach Studios in Loveland are taking their time. To create naturally dyed garments and forge metal into jewelry, Sheron and Curtis-Rowland and Wendy Nethery-Wise usher modernity aside. Instead, they create that wearable artwork using techniques that can be traced to ancient Egypt and Anglo-Saxon times. We visited their multi-purpose studio to bring you the details. In a culture where most people value expediency, 3 artists in a studio in the Rocky Mountain foothills are taking their time, preserving what they call the lost arts. It's something they say is needed in this fast-paced world. The result is carefully crafted finery that includes hand-dyed garments and jewelry, all being created under one roof.
Through forensic metalsmithing, we were able to rediscover this process called Pressbleck, which is an old German word that means pressed block. And it's about 1,600 years old.
You can feel that heat building.
Well, the crucible itself is about 900 to 1,000 degrees right now.
This is called ancient bronze, and that is a commercial name for an alloy that's 85% copper and 15% tin that is closely related to the alloy of bronze that they used throughout history.
Close enough?
Yep, you're doing great.
We nickname it medieval mass production because what it allows us to do is to take a design that we need to repeat over and over and over again, and it gives us the means to do that.
So this would have been the wax that you placed in, right? And then this is the finished product with the cooled metal.
This is the ancient bronze that's been poured in.
And this is a symbol you often use in your work.
Yes, it's called Awen, and it's an ancient Celtic symbol that means the creative soul. When our patrons choose to buy a piece of our artwork, a part of what they're trying to experience is a little part of the artist themselves. And so that's in my mind as an artist when I'm working with the symbolism or the iconography of the piece is, what's the story? So now we have the master dies, or the blocks. We've cut the sprues off and smoothed them out a little bit. And we take a piece of recycled copper that we've put through a process called annealing, and we use leather to help push the metal down into the die and also protect the die.
See how you did.
The resulting image is a positive relief.
And then this is almost kind of a foundation that you can go anywhere with, right?
We can make earrings out of it, we can make a necklace from it, a lot of different things.
It's great. It's great to see how a special detail like this is one part of a much larger whole.
Yeah,
It's very
it really
labor
is.
intensive.
Yeah, that's the handcrafting nature of what we do and what is thankfully becoming a growing importance in the United States again.
I was a research coordinator for spine surgeons and just got burned out. I've known Sheron and Curtis for 10 years or so, and Curtis said, just as a lark, hey, we're really busy and we need an intern like 10 hours a week. And I said, well, are there meetings? No, there are no meetings. Was there a dress code? No, you just wear what you want, bring your headphones, listen to music, and bang stuff with hammers all day. That was 3 years ago, and I haven't left. And I keep learning new skills from Curtis and from classes I'm taking, and I don't think I'll ever go back.
It's lavender next to the sage. That's mugwort. This is where I get tons of my color inspirations. I'll be walking up, going up to the studio to get to work, and I'll stop and I'll go, wow. And I'll think about how could I do that in the natural dyes. Now, none of these will dye the colors that they show, but I do absolutely get inspired.
Sheron, what do we have here?
This is a bag of coreopsis that I grew in my yard. Many people in Colorado have coreopsis in their garden because it's a really good xeriscape plant.
So you picked it, you dried it.
Maybe a couple hundred flowers, picked laboriously one at a time. I could probably dye close to a pound of fiber with this. But this is cochineal.
Bugs!
Bugs, yes. It's a little bag of insects that feed on prickly pear cactus.
How or why did you first get interested in this?
My first job out of high school was I was the docent at the Living History Farm in Des Moines, Iowa. I had to learn how to spin, I had to learn how to make soap, I had to learn how to dye, and I loved it. So you can see the color has landed on the fiber, but it'll take heat to actually set it to the fiber, heat in time.
Why did we move away from natural dyeing process?
It's hard, it takes a lot of time, they're tricky.
So it takes planning.
It takes a lot of planning.
The toxicity that might come from a synthetic dyeing process,
Yeah.
you're not getting any of that here.
No. No, most of the synthetic dyes come from petroleum or a petroleum byproduct. Dyeing is historically incredibly water intensive. There's been much environmental destruction caused by dyeing blue jeans, for instance. So here, over the years, I've developed many, many ways to reduce the amount of water that I use. And I love taking things that people consider scrap or waste and saying, look at how beautiful this is.
For me as a metalsmith, the human form is the ultimate artwork because that's where my product, where my art finally has its resting place, is on the human form.
Being an artist, figuring out the process is really enjoyable, and then actually making it and holding something I made. It's the best thrill ever.
I really love doing this.
It shows. I'm Carrie Saldo. Like us on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, join our newsletter, and come back here to our studio next week.
Arts District is a collaboration between Rocky Mountain PBS and public radio stations KUNC and KUVO KVJZ.